Hey, this is Life with Shauna Renee here, back with another video. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. This video is about police escort guest off property. Code word is at the end of every video. That means I'll know that you watched the video all the way through, and you can't skip all the way to the end. But let's watch the video.
Last night I had to have the police escort my Airbnb guests off our rental property, so here's the story time. So for context, I have been an Airbnb superhost for 4 years, and this is the craziest experience I have ever gone through. The last week I got a booking from, it looked to be an older couple, and they had 6 5-star reviews, no red flags, so obviously I'm going to rent to them. So the first red flag was I received this text from one of my clients who has no affiliation with the Airbnb guests, and she goes, "Hey, so I have a really funny story. My neighbor was on her way home last night and she found a girl who was walking barefoot and half naked on the side of the road, and she stopped to help this girl, and she had this like crazy story about how she crashed her car into a ditch, and she walked all the way from where her car had crashed into the ditch all the way to this corner store barefoot." And she said it was really weird because a guy was staying with her, but the guy wasn't coming to pick her up. So this neighbor like paid for her towing, and she said the weird thing is that when the car got towed, it got towed back to my Airbnb. I was like, oh wow, that's crazy. But, it's not against the rules. What you do outside of the house is not really my issue. So it was just a red flag. And I was like, well, hopefully she's okay. She hasn't said anything to me. Red flag number 2. The next day, my dad went to go fix the deck. He knocked on the door to let them know that he was going to be at the house to fix the deck. And the person who came to the door, he said, looked very disheveled. But, you rent an Airbnb, you're hungover. That's also not against the rules to look disheveled. So, but he did know, he said, I was there from 11 till 3 and they were all still asleep. Everyone in the house was still asleep. So clearly they were having a really good time the night before. Again, not against the rules, not my problem. Haven't gotten any complaints from my neighbors. Okay, red flag number 3. The next day I get a text from my neighbor, and he goes, "Hey, so we're trying to go to the airport and your Airbnb guests are parked in front of our gate. So we have an easement through our property, so the houses in front of us are on the water, and then our house is directly behind it, so we have the view of the water, and so you have to drive through our property, and they have a gate, and then get to their house." So these guests were either on something, or they're just literally have an IQ of 0, because who parks in front of a gate that clearly leads to a house? So he went up to the property because I wasn't answering, and my husband was in a work meeting at that point, and so he went up to the house, and you can see inside our house through like the window on the door, and he could see the people inside the house, and he's knocking on the door, and they scrambled to hide under blankets in the living room. And he's like talking through the door. He's like, "I can see you guys." I'm like, "What? Are you 5? Like, who hides under blankets? Go hide in a room or something." But he's like talking to them through the door. It's like, "Hey, we're trying to go to the airport. We need you to move the car." So then I texted the wife of my neighbor and was like, "So sorry about our guests. I really don't know how they thought that was a parking spot and inconvenienced you guys." And she was like, "Oh, no worries, we got it figured out." But she's like, "Just so you know," so they can see directly into our house. Our entire side of the house is windows because they're all sliding glass doors, and she can see directly into it. She's like, "Just so you know, they're like hotboxing your house, and they have a bunch of cats at your house." And I was like, "What?" They didn't note that they didn't pay the pet fee. Okay, I'm finally getting to the good part. So I receive this text from one of the Airbnb guests. I thought it was a neighbor trying to contact me about the guests, but it was actually one of the girls who is staying at the property. She basically goes on to tell me that she is an OF model and basically does a certain kind of work, and the guy who rented the place is her manager, aka her PIMP. And basically, he stole all of her money, and she now has no money, and he's inviting underage girls to our house. Now, this is a police matter. And the person that she stated was not the person who booked the place. So I thought all along I was renting to a sweet old lady, but in fact, I am renting to completely different people who basically catfished Airbnb. So we had the police come out to escort them off the property. They then proceeded to blow up my phone. He was like, I am a famous influencer, and this girl is just trying to sabotage me and ruin my image and ruin our trip and da da da. And I was like, regardless of the claims, I'm like, that's a police matter. You're still breaking all the rules. You need to get off my property. And so the police escorted them off the property around like 1:30. So the next day I had a police officer escort me through the property because I had to get eyes on the property and see what was the state of the home, because I have to make a claim with Airbnb and just videotape everything. So when we arrived, the place was a total mess. There was food spilled all over the deck. The glassware and towels from inside were scattered around the yard. And then looking through the living room windows, it honestly looked like people were still staying there because of how much stuff that they left behind. We also noticed that there was cat litter and food bowls right away, which confirmed that the guests did lie about having a cat at the house. Once we went inside, it only got worse. They left behind a ton of personal belongings, and we even found a sex toy. And as we walked through the house, we could find like the suction marks that were left behind on mirrors and glass from it. And we literally found a whole cat that they literally abandoned at the house. They left the cat with no food, no water, and no place to use the restroom. We found a towel with poop wrapped up in it. Floors were sticky from who knows what, and the amount of dirt and mess left behind was insane for a stay that was only 3.5 days. Anyways, this is just another story on my list of crazy experiences I have had as an Airbnb host, so thanks for listening.
I hope Airbnb charges them for fraud, because basically they made it seem like catfish and had the nerve to like damage your property. Like, who does that? Who goes to someone's house and, you know, catfish old couple, making it seem like this old couple is the one that's staying there when you got all these different people coming there. I'm so happy that y'all put cameras in your home, which y'all should have did from the beginning, so you know who's coming in and out. I know you're trying to be lenient about who's there or whatever, but sometimes you gotta be a little stricter. Because I thought they were supposed to have parties and stuff for Airbnb, because I was being very careful when I stayed at my thing in Florida. I stayed at one property for Airbnb in Florida, and I had a fun time. Actually, I stayed at 2 different places and had a fun time. I had no issues at all. Now, what do y'all think about this video? You know what to do. Comment below. This is Life with Sean Renee. More videos on the way.